taking a relationship to the next level. This is Passion with Dr. Lori.
Welcome to the program, a show all about love, sex, and relationships. Tonight, it is Dating Dilemmas. Once a month, we just focus on all things related to dating. We answer your dating questions. We go through those. We have some themes sometimes, and whatever goes on this show. We are here with Fritz Gerald Morisot, who is from EliteSpeedDating.com. He'll tell us about speed dating and some events happening. And just so you know, Fritz, I get quite a few emails in between our dating dilemmas asking me about speed dating. So I want to maybe go through that a little bit as to what it is. Also in studio is Frank Kermit. He is a dating coach. He's been doing this show for quite a number of years. He has written many books on the subject as well. So we've got a full house answering your dating questions. Now, one of the things you do, Frank, of course, is you post this out on Facebook. You have a large following on Facebook, and people really interact with a lot of the questions that you answer. So why'd you pick this month's question? What reasons did you ever have to take a break? Taking a break when you're dating somebody.
One of the things that's been coming up a lot over the last few months within the client base that's coming to me is people struggling with this concept of maintaining their space when dating someone new. And this covers the gamut from people who are struggling with intimacy. So they always want to maintain their space. They want to make sure to have their bubble, but they crave companionship. But they don't want to get too serious. So they use the word, I want my space. I want to maintain my space.
That might be another word for saying I can't commit either, or I'm having trouble with intimacy.
And then there are those people who legitimately need their space, but they still want to be in a serious relationship. They just don't want to lose a sense of freedom. They don't want to lose a sense of individuality. They want to be
which is healthy.
Which can be healthy.
No, not can, which is. That's a healthy relationship. Maintaining your individuality, your own space, your own bubble, while connecting with the other person and wanting to connect is the healthiest possible scenario in relationships. Mm-hmm. A lot of people mistake that, though.
And that's something we should probably touch on later today. Mm-hmm. Finally, we have those people who are using it as that ultimate excuse. And the excuse is, I want to go out there and date, but I just want to, take a break, and I'm not really sure, but I don't want to lose you. So can we date but take a break? And I'm still trying to figure out if I want to get more serious with you or not. But
that's really what that says. When somebody says, I need to take a break, either they're letting you down easy, so they don't want to hurt you so much, so they say I want to just have space from you or take a break from this relationship a little bit, which might be another way of saying I'm questioning this.
With that said, having the expectation that the other person isn't going to date in the meanwhile is not always a reasonable expectation.
Okay.
Because the idea is, let's take a break, but neither one of us should be seeing other people. Mm-hmm. Well, if you're not 100% committed, if you're not going to be there, is it legitimate to really expect that the other person should not be allowed to pursue other options?
Right. Absolutely not. If you're taking a break, everybody's free to do whatever they want.
So you don't believe taking a break is really taking a break, like that I don't think most people come back together after they take a break. I don't know what your experience has been, but I don't think so.
Well, I think taking a break is exactly that, taking a break. So if it's a hall pass,
it's a break is what it is. A breakup. It's not taking a break.
Well, what if it's a situation where, let's say it's a student, they want to study for their final exams, and their attitude is, look, for the next 3 months, I really have to focus on this thing, and I just don't want any distractions, and I'm not going to be social with anybody. And they want a break at that point.
Well, if it's a student...
That's different, I think, right?
I actually think it's one and the same. Because you're a student, okay, so you want 3 months off. What are you going to do when you're going to be married? Or you're going to have a job? I need 3 months off of you because I really need to focus on my work? No, you got to learn to deal with it. If you need a break, then you need a break.
Okay. However, let's say, being married, sometimes I can say, I need to take a week away. Like, I want to be by myself. I want to take a break, but that doesn't mean I want to take a break to go do what I want.
I agree.
Okay.
I agree, but there's a very big difference between a week and I want some me time and I need 3 months.
Yeah. That's quite true. But I do get the maybe not 3 months, but maybe look, I'm in the middle of exams. We can't see each other for the next little bit, but we maintain our relationship. Look, there has to be some level of flexibility.
So what's the expectation, that you're going to text every day, or is
Well,
it
you
understood?
should have contact. I think so.
And what if somebody says, look, I really can't have any distraction?
I
It's
don't
too
get
much."
that. I don't get that. Really, a 10-second text is such a huge distraction from anything that you're doing. I don't buy it. I don't buy that. If you're really connected with somebody, you can give them the space and say, look, go focus on your exams. I know it's really tough. Just check in with me once a day. I want to see how you're doing.
Okay, but play devil's advocate. If you're really connected with somebody, do you really need to hear from them once a day?
I think once a day is reasonable, Frank. Yes, I do think once a day is reasonable. I want to hear from my husband at least once a day, and he wants to hear from me at least once a day, if not 2, 3, 4 times a day.
Okay, but that's relationships. We're talking serious relationships here.
Right.
I'm talking dating. You've been dating, let's say, for 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
Something's coming up, a major project at work, and you really just don't want any distractions.
No, I'm sorry. I don't agree that is such a distraction to be able to connect and say, hi, I'm still thinking about you. We're still a couple. Like I get that you need the space and you don't have time to kind of get together right now, but I'm sorry, nobody works on their stuff 24 hours a day for weeks on end.
I agree.
Okay, so that to me that isn't an option. As this texter says, that sounds a little dysfunctional. Yeah, it sounds like you're moving away from something, not that you're trying to stay connected. I really believe if you're really into somebody, you want to see them, and if you can't see them because you need to be working out of town or you need to really focus on a particular project and most of your day is spent doing that, then you make whatever effort it is to keep a connection.
Well, then what about those people who have careers that take them away from home?
That's different. But that's different to me. You still connect with your partner even when they're traveling.
Exactly. Even if you're traveling, it's working super hard. It's 23 hours. You could at least, while you're in the bathroom, while you're taking lunch, I don't know. There's ways, anything for, hey, babe, how you doing? I'm good.
Absolutely. I'm thinking about you. Otherwise, the other person feels neglected, invisible. They don't know what's going on. I don't know, do they not like me anymore? Maybe they changed their mind. Maybe now they met somebody else. There's too many questions. Too many. Like I do believe if you want to stay connected with somebody, there is no excuse for that. And I do believe when somebody says we need to take a break, they're feeling overwhelmed by the relationship they're in. And maybe they don't know how to break up, or they're afraid to let it go, or they're afraid to break up. So taking a break is kind of the softer option. But ultimately, does it lead back? Do you get back together? I don't know. I haven't seen the studies on that. I would love to see that, actually. I'd love to see work on that, to see if there's any kind of statistics on how many people actually get back together after a break, like Ross and Rachel.
Right, but another thing, like it might not just be, or it might not be the other person. You might want to break for your me time. Like I remember when I used to date and I would say, yes, I need a break from that person. It wasn't because the other person was good or bad. It's just because I was trying to figure out what I really liked and what I wanted out of this relationship. And seeing you 24/7, was actually setting a boundary, because now that I'm talking about it, because I couldn't say I need 24 hours without seeing you, because the person was constantly
that's space. To me, there's a big difference, and Frank, you brought that up in the beginning. Needing space, needing a break. They're two different things, and we can get back to talking about that. How often do you need space in your relationship, or have you been with someone who says, I just need a break? Did it turn out well? Did you get back together? What do you think it actually means? 514-800 to text in your thoughts. You can call in at 514-790-0800. Dating Dilemmas tonight on Passion.
Whether you need to learn how to talk or something more hands-on, she can help. Passion with Dr. Lori.
Dating dilemmas tonight on the program. Fitzgerald from EliteSpeedDating.com is here along with Frank Kermit, dating coach. So we're talking about people who take a break. So there's those that say, I need a break from the relationship. We'll take a break. And I need space. They are two different things in my book. So I think it's okay to be able to tell your partner, I need some alone time. I need some space. It's not that a lot of people interpret it as if you say you need space, you're actually saying, I want to get away from you, or it's about the other person. But what if it's just about you? What if it's about preserving your whatever it is that you need, right? It's not about the other person, but it's about you. So no need to take it personally to say, I need space. This texter writes, I've been with my wife for 19 years. I have long hours and my wife works in retail. Different hours, day to day, week to week. She calls me from work on breaks to say hi, and I call her when I'm still out at night. After 19 years, we are still both happy to hear from one another, even if it is just to say hi and I love you. And I'm with Ian on this one. That's who texted in. My life is exactly like that. Like we have to, we talk on the phone maybe 4 or 5 times a day sometimes. Whoever has a break, we call, we send a quick text because we don't see each other. He leaves the house before I get up, I get home. I have long days. I get home, he's asleep. So we always make sure, okay, which nights are you here for supper? We schedule those, and Saturday and the weekends are very precious to us because of that, right? Because we don't have that time. But it allows me to be me, allows him to have his time. It actually works really well. But you have to be understanding and you have to be secure in that, right? That doesn't mean that the person doesn't want to be with you, and you also have to be on the same page as to the amount of space you need in the relationship.
With all that said, we're looking here at long-term serious relationships,
Yes.
marriages.
That's true.
Now let's apply this to, I've been dating somebody for 3 months.
Good point.
And you're not at that level. I mean,
good point.
When you're talking about a serious marriage and let's say there's kids involved and, we need to take a break. And on that break, we should be allowed to do what we want. Well, there's kids involved in this dynamic and maybe doing whatever you want without thinking about how it's going to affect your kids. I'm not a big fan of that.
I have to say, Frank, I need to stop you right there. At least for myself, one of the things, I was raised by a single mother, so and I understand the difference between all this. You know what? I'm stuttering because the thing is that children do not have anything to do between your relationship with your partner. It is between you and your partner. So if you decide what you want to do as a couple, that's your decision.
It's like couples who decide to have an open relationship. That shouldn't influence the children.
Correct.
The children shouldn't be involved in it.
However, what if the decision of the parent who says, I'm going to do what I'm going to do, is to parade a number of partners in front of the children?
Okay,
that is very different.
That's very
different.
different.
That's the point. You don't get to do just anything you want to do. You have to think about how your choices are going to affect your kids. So,
there has to be rules. Like there has to be boundaries to any of these discussions. They always come with some parameters.
Well,
otherwise, we're talking about free for alls.
Exactly.
Okay.
So let's forget the family thing. Forget the long-term relationships. You're right. This is a dating show. Let's talk about dating because that's more important. And what does that actually mean when someone says, I need to take a break? We need to take a break, or I want us to take a break, or I need a break from this relationship. So Tara writes, I think needing space and wanting a break are two different things. So ask your partner what they mean. Needing a break often means a break from the relationship altogether, and I tend to agree on that. A bit of space or alone time is actually healthy and gives you time for your own stuff, and it gives me time to actually miss them. Plus, it brings something back to the relationship. You might even have more to talk about, such as what happened at the gym or this great movie you saw with your friends, and that is exactly why people need space in relationships. I totally agree. That's a completely healthy approach. Nat says, my own space is very important. My place is my place and your place is your place. So what happens when you have a discussion about when the relationship goes further? How long do you keep your place and my place? When is it going to be our place?
Oh, this is a beautiful topic because this is something I'm seeing, especially for people who are fairly established. Some of them have already gone through a divorce and they're not really keen on getting too close too quickly with someone new. They like having their own place, their own home. They don't want to mess with their finances that way. Mm-hmm. And they're looking to date somebody who's already as equally established, not necessarily in a dollar amount, but someone who has their own home, who's not necessarily looking to mess with it. I think one guy who commented on a previous show says years ago when he went out looking to date somebody, how much the other person made didn't matter. Now he won't date anyone who makes less than, what was it, $50,000 a year, because he doesn't want a repeat of what happened the first time.
Right.
He wants someone who's fairly established and independent enough that she's not relying on him through the dating process.
But young people who date, who eventually, who are looking to the future, are thinking about when the time comes that we move in, whatever. But I hear this more from people who are older, like you said, who are already established. Maybe they have kids already and what have you, that have no interest in merging homes. And I know a few couples who actually work very well having their separate homes, and then they switch off who comes over here, who comes, and they have their sleepovers and what have you, but they're very set on keeping their own homes, and they're both okay with that. The problem happens when one is not okay with it. So you need to find a partner who's okay. Now, you talked about, like, let's say dating after 3 months and somebody says, I need space. This texter writes, after only 3 months, there's a definite problem. And I agree. If somebody says, after 3 months, I think I need a break, they're really telling you they want to break up and they just don't know how to say it.
Well, what if they're questioning? What if they're not necessarily saying, I want to break up, but they really say, look, just like Tara wrote, it helps you actually miss the person. So sometimes people need that space that says, I'm missing the person. That's the sign that I need that I should be continuing to see them.
Well, sometimes it's other reasons too, that it's not just about missing the person, but there's, there are other red flags that are there that are usually there, that you still have to be aware. You can miss certain aspects of the person, but something pulled you apart from that person. You had doubts. Like when you have important enough doubts that says to you, I need a break to figure this out, it's not generally good news, in my opinion.
Yes,
just
and
my
generally
opinion.
It's not.
There's no science behind what I'm saying here. It's my opinion.
No, I hear that.
All right. Maggie says, very important, of course. I want to spend as much time as I can with my partner, but as an empathic person, I need my alone time to recharge my energy, especially if I've been around people with negative energy. So needing that alone time, I think, is important.
To recharge. Yeah.
For whatever reason you need that alone time, but it is something that has to be discussed. Like, you need to know when you're dating somebody, look, I'm the kind of person, this isn't about you, this, I need a lot of alone time. I need to disconnect, whatever it is that you need. Like, you've got to know yourself so that you're able to transmit that information to the person you're with, so they don't feel like and question, does he not like me? Does she not like me? Like, what's going on? Is this mixed messages? So all of that isn't there. Be clear.
I knew this couple. He was a firefighter, and the stress of his job, he learned to cope with it in certain ways. And one of the things he did was that when he was at home, get on his motorcycle and he'd be gone for hours at a time. When he was dating someone, he made it clear and said, look, this is the way I cope with the fact of what I do. Already he's away from home when he's working his shifts because they sleep at the fire station. It was just his way of life. It was his lifestyle. She was okay with it. She got it. She understood that when he's on his bike and in the country and just wants to be alone, that's his alone time. That's his quiet time. And he's not going to reach out to her. He will come back. But while he's gone, he wants to be left alone.
Right. But the parameters are clear.
Exactly. And I think the line is just blurred between taking a break and space. We're talking, and
I agree.
We're saying good things about taking space, and we're generally acquiescing or saying we agree on taking a break is generally not a good thing.
Taking a break is usually an indicator of something else. And a texter is saying that they're surprised that you're defending it, Frank. Like, are you defending? Like, maybe it's not very clear.
I'm not defending it. What I'm asking is, how do people define it? And here's what brought up this topic. It was the concept that people who actually are not interested in a commitment will say they just want their space or they need their space. What they really mean is, I have no interest in ever committing to you, but they don't want to say taking a break. But that's effectively what they're doing. They're keeping the person at a distance because they need their space.
But the wording matters here, very much so,
Yes.
because a person who says, look, I need my space, whether it's because they're a loner or because they don't want to commit, whatever the reason is, that's to be discovered throughout the relationship, is different than someone who says, I need a break. Like, to me, if somebody says I need a break from you or from the relationship early on, they're overwhelmed by this relationship.
Yes.
They don't want me. They're overwhelmed by me or
Not
by the
necessarily.
relationship.
Not necessarily. There are people who sometimes need to take a break from dating in general because they may be dealing with, let's say, their own issues that have nothing to do with the person they're seeing.
Okay.
If they're dealing with, let's say, some level of depression, some level of major anxiety, and what they need to do is simply stay away from everybody, and right now I need to just rebuild, work on myself.
That's different. So, but again, it's the words, right? So if a person says, look, I really like you, but I'm going through a lot right now. I'm going through major depression. I need to heal from this. So I need to take a break from dating because of this. Very different than somebody who's been dating, everything's been going well, and then says, boom, I need to take a break. We need to take a break. So there's, context matters.
Context matters a lot. It's not just cut and dry.
No. And
Somebody who maybe is dealing with the loss of a parent or a sibling or something, they may need to take a break.
yeah, absolutely. So, okay, in that respect, it's a little bit different. We're not defending it. You're not defending it like a blanket statement here. Context matters. So I'd love to hear your context in all of this. Dating dilemmas, more of these dating dilemmas here on Passion on CJD.
She can help improve your love life in a few different ways. Passion with Dr. Lori.
Dating dilemmas tonight on the program. Frank Kermit, dating coach and author in studio. Fitzgerald Morisseau, who is the founder and president of Elite Speed Dating, elitespeeddating.com. He'll tell us a little bit later on about some of the events coming up because there's one coming up tomorrow. We've been talking about taking space, taking a break. What's the difference between the two? And really having an interesting debate about that. And I think the conclusion is context really, really matters here. The reason why you're taking a break or what's the motivation behind it. We've got Mitch on the line. Hi, Mitch.
Hi there, Lori. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. So I actually called in yesterday, and it's funny because you guys are always on when I finish work, and I was talking about my girlfriend with anxiety and stuff like that.
Oh, yes. Okay.
So you guys are talking about context, and like I was talking about yesterday, my girlfriend has anxiety, and for her personal space and her little alone time is really important to her.
Right.
And so you guys are talking about context, and I completely agree. It's more so from the standpoint that, like, if it's discussed early on in the relationship and you know that it's something that your partner really needs and it's something that really helps her or him out,
Mm-hmm.
I think it's really important to understand and just kind of, like, accept the fact that that's who they are and that's what they need in order to be, functional in whatever way they can.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. It's having that compassion for your partner, too, right? Rather than taking it personally.
No, of course. And a lot of people, from what I've spoken to about with my friends and stuff, when someone says, I need space, it's automatically a red flag, and you're thinking, you're overthinking. You're thinking, is there something wrong? Did I do something?
Right.
Is she not interested? But given the context where you have someone with anxiety or whether any mental disorder for that fact, or just someone that's an introvert and someone that needs to be alone for them to feel accomplished or whatnot,
Mm-hmm.
I think it needs to be discussed early on in the relationship, because that kind of thing can snowball into a huge other issue where if they need space and it's not being talked about, you're kind of sitting there wondering, like, what's wrong? Am I doing something? And then it just kind of escalates into a huge thing.
And then what ends up happening is you end up having the other partner is scrambling to get more connection and contact. The other one is pulling away. So one is distancing while the other one is pursuing. And then you become viewed as needy. And then the other person starts to disconnect even more. And when it was really all about, I just need this alone time. It's not about you. And if you can respect that and if it can work for you, then obviously it works for you and you understand it and it was said early on. So you're making it work. So context really is everything, but communication even more than context, because if you don't talk about it and you don't put it all out there, then you're right. You make up stories in your head. You really make up stories in your head. So, Mitch, thanks so much for sharing and for being such a compassionate human being. Appreciate your call. Take care. 514-800 or 514-790-0800. Taking space, taking a break. What do you think it all means? I think it's quite different. And I just want to switch gears a little bit, Fritz, and talk about the speed dating event, because people are looking often for new ways to date, and they don't necessarily want to do always the online thing, or they want to supplement that with an actual event. So please explain for people who've just tuned in, who've never really heard about speed dating, what goes on at one of these events. And there's an event tomorrow night, right?
Yes, we have an event tomorrow night. It's going to be happening at Weinstein and Gavino's on Crescent at 7:30. Doors will open. We'll have a wonderful evening until 10. We guarantee 6 to 10 dates, and I can tell you for the 25 to 35-year-old group, we will have wonderful 10 dates. And actually, if more people sign up tonight, they're going to have more.
So 25 to 35. That's the
25
age category tomorrow night.
Yes, there's that group for tomorrow night. And we also have a 36 to 45-year-old age group. There are still some space available for men in that age group. So sign up. Don't give me the excuse, I don't have an event. You do. We have women ready to see you. Beautiful women. Contacts, good conversation, drinks, a great night all together. You talk for 5 minutes each.
Okay.
At the end of the evening, you're more than welcome to stay. 24 hours later, you will get the contact information of your matches, meaning if someone said yes to you.
So hold on. Let's just describe how it works. You're in front of somebody for 5 minutes.
That's correct.
Then the bell rings and you move on to the next person for 5 minutes.
You move on to the next. There is no
There's
bell.
no bell. Okay, whatever. Fritz says move.
Move.
Okay, whatever it is. But after each 5 minutes, you put on a card or something that you put a tick. What do you do? What do you do?
So after each 5 minutes, you write down if yes or no if you want to see that person again. We also invite the people to write down comments about their dates. So you can
like
say
feedback.
That's correct. So you can say, I had a great time. The person was lovely, smelled well, had a good conversation, made me laugh. Or you can say the person was surprisingly boring. They didn't talk to me. They didn't do so-and-so, BO, whatnot.
And why is that important?
That gives you feedback on what you presented that night.
Who gives them that feedback?
I give them that feedback anonymously, so you
Okay,
won't
good.
know who gave you. You won't know who
Excellent.
said that,
Right.
but you'll know what you presented that night. And it's very important that I say it's that night. That's not how always you present yourself, at least hopefully, but
Right.
that
You might
night.
be nervous that night. Mhm.
Exactly. So that will help you deal with, first of all, this is what I portray. Maybe certain things you've been told about already that you can use not only in dating experiences, but in everyday life. For example, and a lot of comments are made like this. Women generally say he was very, very gallant. He stood up when I came to the table.
So they
know,
notice those things.
Those
Right.
little things have more impact than most people think they do.
So I find that a valuable service, actually, to be able to find out what did I do wrong. Like if I didn't get any matches that night, was it me? Was it them? Right. So if
Right.
people have responded and given you feedback, and it's anonymous, and nobody's trying to tear you down or anything, but it's in a helpful sort of way, I think that's actually quite valuable for the person. And then maybe you could decide at that point, your Fritz are able to see, well, maybe you need some coaching here. Like you could figure out where
Exactly.
the problems lie.
I have to say, this is one of the reasons I love the speed dating model. And I was in love with the speed dating model even before I had met Fritz. Because when I coach somebody and I want to send them out to a speed dating event to see how they do in terms of the matches they get, and I coach them, and then they go to a speed dating event and we find out that now they are getting matches because we were able to isolate the very specific behaviors that were turning people off.
Right.
And if you go speed dating, it's a wonderful opportunity to meet a lot of people in a short amount of time and get legitimate feedback. How do you know what's legitimate? Because if they liked you, they would have said, I want to match with you and I want to go out with you.
Right. And
that's
or
the
if they
value.
didn't, they'll tell you why.
Exactly.
What were the red flags for them? And let's say somebody says, well, he was too boring, and then 5 people say you're boring. Well, I guess, Frank, you can teach him how to be not so boring or
Then
have a more
I
conversation,
I
right?
focus on social skills, having a little bit more charisma, focusing on making the other person feel good.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to say, the people who usually read those comments and come back and you see that they've read the comments, they improve and they get more dates.
Right. So exactly what Frank is saying.
Yeah.
Makes a lot of sense. So elitespeeddating.com, if you want to sign up, that's the easiest way to sign up, right? Just go on the
Easiest
site.
way.
All right, and it's free to sign up. And then I think the events, you just have to pay for each event.
You just have to pay for the events. That's
All right.
correct.
Can you share how much that is?
Tomorrow's event is $25.
All right.
And we're also
and you get
doing
drinks with that.
you
Get a drink. With
you
that.
get drink specials
Oh,
at
great.
the evening.
Okay. All right. So there you go. What were you going to say, Fritz?
We also have events that we're now doing cooking and dating. So we're giving cooking classes and we're going to the West Island. So all you West Islanders, it is now time.
Who are complaining, yeah. This person wants to know, do you have speed dating for 47-year-olds plus?
For 47-year-olds plus, yes, we do have a group. Every 2 months, we hold events for 46-year-olds to 55.
Okay.
So yes.
Okay, great. So there you go. Look them up. And then this texter writes, but isn't there a chance of meeting Godzilla or Frankenstein? But you have, like, you're meeting them face to face. If you are there and you say, oh no, this is a Frankenstein and I'm not attracted to Frankenstein after Frankenstein talks for 5 minutes, because, you know, Frankenstein can be adorable too. Then, but at least you're having the connection somewhere.
Yes,
Like you're
agreed.
talking, right? It's not just a picture.
Exactly. And I have to say, for the Frankenstein and Godzilla, before I started speed dating, I had the exact same prejudice and misconception. You will be surprised how good looking the people are.
All right. We'll talk more about speed dating, your speed dating questions as well, and taking a break, needing space, good idea, bad idea. Is it a bad sign in dating if you're dating someone? 514-800 to text in your thoughts here on Passion.
Stimulating radio. Passion with Dr. Lori.
Dating Dilemmas tonight. Fitzgerald Morisseau of EliteSpeedDating.com here tonight, along with dating coach Frank Kermit. So we're getting a couple of questions about speed dating. I think there's a lot of misconceptions about it, and sometimes it's worth it for us to repeat some of the context of, you know, what goes on in a speed dating event. So this texter wants to know, what happens when you get several matches in one evening? So walk us through the process. I think you talked about you meet, let's say, 10 people, 5 minutes each. After each mini date, 5-minute date, you tick on the paper, yes, you'd see them again, or no, you wouldn't see them again. You write some comments, and you move on to the next. At the end of the program, at the end of your 10 dates, all those papers go to you.
Yes, all those papers go to me. I usually stay a little bit with everyone that's there, have a drink or two. We keep on chatting. Then everyone goes their separate ways. I go to the office, compile all the matches, and write down all the feedback. Send the emails out within the 24 hours. So if you do get several dates, you went on 10 dates, 6 people wanted to see you again, and you wanted to see them, you have 6 dates. It's up to you now to contact that person or those people, look at your schedule, and make sure not to double book or go to.
So both people are getting notified that
Exactly.
you matched with this person. And you give permission to give the contact information.
We only give out the email.
Okay,
That's the only thing
so
we give
this
out.
person matched. Here's the email, and it doesn't matter who makes the contact.
Exactly.
The female, the male, or whoever, whatever. Thing.
Exactly.
Okay.
That's left up to them, just to make sure, like I said, don't double book.
Well, you don't want 3 dates in one night, but okay.
Well, nothing wrong with 3 dates in one night if they're all coffee dates and you want to spend an hour with each. The key, however, is that if you do get a lot of matches at your one speed dating event, don't wait too long before you
Right.
contact them.
That's right.
So if you get 6 matches, try to set them up with, if you're willing to have dates during your lunch hour at work downtown, you want to date everybody at least once within the first 7 days.
Right. I agree with that, because what happens is they have multiple matches too, and all they need is one date with somebody who says, you know what, I want to try this out, and then they eliminate everybody else.
Exactly. And that's actually a very good point. If you do find a match, my suggestion is always at least go on that date, just to be respectful to the person that you did get a match. You went on a 5-minute coffee date. Even if it's 5 minutes, hopefully it's longer.
Well,
I
would hope it would be longer at that point, right? You want at least a half-hour coffee date.
Everybody gets one first date, and then you decide if you want to keep seeing all of them, or if you only want to see one of them, or if you don't want to see any of them.
Right.
But everybody at least gets that first date. Give everybody you matched with the audition.
Yeah, like an audition. in a way.
Exactly.
Right. So do that quickly is the advice here. What about somebody, this texter wants to know, who is 59? Is there no event for them? Everybody thinks she's about 38 to 40, so it's hard to find a niche. So a 59-year-old who looks in great shape and looks like a 40-year-old isn't necessarily going to want to date a 70-year-old guy, you know? So what happens in a situation like that? Do you ever make exceptions for people?
We usually, if
That-
you're being
that's hard,
honest,
yeah.
okay, if the person is being honest about their age, we usually make an exception and let them in as long as they're not too far off from the age group.
Right. So if you're doing an event up to 45 and they're 46, it's
You're
one
in.
thing. Okay.
Okay.
But you're not going to put a 59-year-old in the 25 to 35 category.
That's correct.
Or even 35 to 45.
Exactly.
Right. Sorry, you're going to have to find that one on your own.
I used to try this, all ages speed dating.
Oh, gee.
And it was actually kind of fun because you had people who were much older having a speed date with people who are much younger, and believe it or not, you did get a few matches there. So there's always hope.
Yeah, I'm not.
There is always
I would think those don't work as well, but anyway, you know.
They can still be a lot of fun.
Well,
I'm
yeah,
sure-
people don't find this so much fun. I got to tell you, most people do not go, "Yay, I'm going to a speed dating event." They're like, "I'm going to do this because it's it's a good way to meet people, but I'm not all that excited about it."
Until you've actually done it a couple of
That's
times.
true.
And then you end up enjoying it. I was thrilled when I was speed dating. I thought it was the best thing. And having a positive attitude. Folks, your enthusiasm is one of your most attractive traits. And you don't need to do anything other than be enthusiastic and be grateful that you have the opportunity to go out and meet people.
That's true, Frank. But I will agree with everything, because even when I started, at first you have the misconception or the prejudice of, and people don't go, "Yay, I'm excited to go." Unlike me, I really wanted to go because I wanted to try this out.
Most people will say, "I really want to try this out at least once," or somebody convinces them to go.
Exactly.
right?
And then you find out if the event is properly made, if you're having fun, people focus on the event, and you make people feel comfortable, how fun it is, and how great of a time that you're having, because you're out with other single people who generally have the same interest as you. You already know that you have something in common in the fact that you're all single and you're all looking to meet someone.
That's not that much, but okay.
It's something.
It's something, but you know. So this section wants, why can't the 59-year-old go to the 45 to 55 event? Would you take the 59-year-old at the 55 event? And is it fair to others, though? Because there's a fairness to other people, too,
Yes.
right? Because the other people who sign up may say, well, wait a second, I signed up for up until 55. That's 4 years more. You lied to me, or
Exactly.
you have a responsibility, too, to everybody who signs up.
Exactly. So it's. Will I let the 59-year-old and the 45? Is that was the question?
Yeah, the 45 to 55 event.
The answer is, if you're not too far away from the age group, then I'll let you in.
That's 4 years, Fritz.
That's 4 years. At 55, we'd have to have a conversation case
Okay.
by case.
All right.
Okay. Because yes, I have other people to think about, and I'm sure that you look great and that you look like you're 25.
But some people still care about the number,
Exactly.
regardless of how you look. This texter wants, so I'm 37. I don't want to date women older than me. Can I join a younger group? But you have like 25. So this person might be good for a 25 to 35. You might make the exception to put in somebody who's only 2 years older.
I might make the exception, yes, again, but also very important. I gave the example for tomorrow is 25 to 35. There are some events where there is a slight difference in the age group. So women will be, for example, 24 to 34, and men will be 28 to 38. So you'll have those different events where you have the difference in age group,
right?
Or the little slide.
So you will have younger people today.
Exactly.
All right. To join and to find out where all the events are, because there's one tomorrow night, go to elitespeeddating.com, sign up. If they sign up tonight or tomorrow morning, they might make it in. Guys, that's it for us. Thank you so much for being with us. If you want to get in touch with Frank, franktalks.com. franktalks.com. Thank you all for tuning in. I want to thank Brian Calasar in Master Control. Always a job so well done. If you want to get in touch with me, you could do that through all the media things like Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. My handle is at Dr. Lori Betito. Last name spelled Betito. If you want to email me or get in touch with me about a therapy session, I am taking on new clients. You can just email me at Lori@drlori.com, DRLAURIE.com. We'll talk again tomorrow night. It's our legal night tomorrow, so you can ask your questions about divorce. Right now, stay tuned for The Comedy Show with your host, Joey Elias. Have a great rest of the evening, and remember to fill your life with passion.
Frank Talks is sponsored in part by the Adult Male Virgin Seminars and Telephone Consultations. If you are an adult and want to get a handle on this once and for all, you need this seminar. Being an adult male virgin can be most stigmatizing in today's society. You feel like a failure in the eyes of the mass culture around you, alienated from your male friends who all talk about their sexual conquests, and you must hide this shameful secret lest they use it against you. And the very personal pain, anguish, and despair that cannot be described by words that haunts you every moment of your life. Enough is enough. It is time for male virgins to take charge of their sex lives. Frank gives you the rules of winning in this seminar. The Adult Male Virgin Seminars and Telephone Consultations. Make your first time the best time of her life. Only available at franktalks.com. Frank helps adult boys turn into men.
Need help with love, sex, dating, or relationship issues? Help from Frank Kermit, the best-selling author and Canada's most international relationship coach, is only a click away at franktalks.com.
Need help with love, sex, dating, and relationships? Visit franktalks.com.
If you need help with your relationships, my buddy Frank, he's got some tips. Just go to franktalks.com. His advice is better than your mom's. He knows what you're going through, 'cause Frank has been there too. So log on to franktalks.com. franktalks.com.